Hey guys, what is going on? So, we have sort of a improvised situation here for a review. I'm going to be reviewing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2013. Now, this was interesting. I saw the copy I have this new Walmart Steelbook where it has that orange and black color tone, but on the box it just says Texas Chainsaw. But when I looked this one up online, the one with Alexandra Daddario, online it's called Texas Chainsaw 3D. So I don't know if that was just one of the copies they made that had those like classic 3D glasses or whatever. I don't know. I'm just calling it Texas Chainsaw 2013 because that's what's on here. That's the year it came out. So I got the copy here. You got that cool quote on the back. So I really like these copies, these Walmart copies that they've been making. And it's pretty nice. And so for this movie, it's interesting because it kind of, the events happen in the first happen in this movie. Now, I haven't seen the rest of them, so I don't know if this is a sequel to one of the other sequels that isn't really a sequel, because the first movie, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, to my knowledge, is the only one based on true events. The rest is sort of taking the idea of Leatherface, making him a horror icon, stretching the story and doing this and doing that, and sort of giving him something new to do movie after movie. And so for this one, those original events happened, but it sort of happened a little differently, or at least Leatherface's demise, basically. So in this movie, we get sort of the glimpse of back then that the townspeople sort of interrupted Leatherface's arrest, essentially. So at the time, the sheriff, he went to the house. His family was about to give up Leatherface. They had agreed with the police, they were going to give him up, but when the townspeople showed up, they were just out for blood. They start shooting. They don't want to give up Leatherface, and turns out it just becomes another Texas shootout massacre. And so as these guys are fighting, the sheriff is just rendered, he's outnumbered. He can't get rid of the townspeople. Leatherface's family isn't giving him up anymore, and so basically there's only two single survivors from his family. Heather, who Alexandra Daddario plays in this movie, she was a baby when this happened, so her mother is one of the few surviving long enough for one of the townspeople to find the baby and keep the baby. They believe that the whole place burned down and Leatherface along with it. Obviously, he survives because it's a Texas Chainsaw movie. Leatherface is in it. He survived. And so, for this one, it sort of skips to the present, which is then 2013. And Heather gets notified that basically her name's been attached to someone's will. She and her friends go to Texas to figure this out. And they end up picking up a hitchhiker who has this really sketchy story from the start. And they pick him up. They go to the property, and the rest of them go into town, but this hitchhiker stays behind. Now, of course, now he's looting the place. He wants to take valuables, and he ends up opening the door that, as viewers, we know Leatherface is down there. He opens his door. We see all these, it just looks like this grungy basement. And so, of course, while he's looking around, Leatherface ends up grabbing him, and, well, he kills him. And so he's done, but the rest of our friends, they all show back up at the house later that night, and one of the townspeople that led this shootout earlier in the movie, he's now the mayor, and so the sheriff is still the sheriff. So he didn't get a promotion, but as far as the town is concerned, no one knows what really happened that day. They don't know people went there and basically torched and killed everyone. So the townspeople become the villains for this movie, which is just a little awkward. Now, yeah, the rest of Leatherface family, they should have been arrested instead of killed, but this movie takes an interesting narrative where the townspeople are made out to be the villains because Heather's mom died unfairly because of the shootout. And so as the movie progresses, Heather and her friends get back one by one. Leatherface is killing them, and it turns out Heather escapes and one friend survives. And so now we get some really smart characters. Heather ends up at the police station. The sheriff has an evidence box full of everything that happened, proof of basically the mayor killing her family. So they leave this box of evidence right next to her because, of course, curious minds are gonna take a look. And so a police officer actually arrives back at the house and sees the trail of blood that leads back to the house. And so this cop thinks he's going to be a one-man show and go take down Leatherface. The sheriff's telling him, no, Leatherface is indeed alive. This is a bad idea. The mayor says, oh no, you can shoot him. We've only seen him kill however many people before, but you, cop number 4, he's going to be the one to kill Leatherface. And they have this corny line where, he's like, oh, well, he's killed all these people. And the cop goes, well, he's not bulletproof. Well, oh man, why didn't we think of that before? So anyway, so the cop ends up going back to the house. He goes back down to the basement. He, puts up this body cam, I guess, or his phone, whatever he's doing, whatever app he's using on his phone. The sheriff and the mayor can see what's happening. And so, obviously, they use this scene to showcase how grungy, how disgusting, how disturbing Leatherface is, because he's in his basement. And so eventually the cop ends up, well, you guessed it, he ends up finding the survivor. But guess what? He freaks and he shoots the survivor. So they sort of mock, I think, I would use the word mock, the original scene where the girl's in the cooler, but he shoots her. So she could have easily survived, but they just decided to make this cop an idiot, even more than he already is, just for Leatherface to just kill him a minute later anyway. And so now Heather is the sole survivor of her friend group. And her friend group was the same amount of people in a van that ends up at this house, victims of Leatherface. It's all nostalgic. It's all happening again. And what happens is the townspeople are hunting Leatherface now, and they want him dead. And they decide they're going to kidnap Heather, take her to this place, I guess, and they're going to lure Leatherface. So when Leatherface does arrive, when he's about to kill her, he notices her birthmark, which I guess he would have recognized her birthmark when she was a baby. And so he recognizes her and cuts her free instead of killing her. And she's about to leave, but the townspeople are already there to attack Leatherface. So she goes back to help him. Now here's where the thing gets interesting. First of all, him noticing a birthmark. I think they could have had an opportunity for peak cinema here if Heather's mother's name was Martha. Okay, I think that could have been a better idea, but that's not what they went with. So not only is her mother's name not Martha, she goes back to help the guy that just murdered all of her friends and innocent people and a bunch of people before. But hey, they're cousins, so it's family. She goes back in to help this serial killer who nearly just killed her because he's family, I guess. And so here we get one of the corniest lines. The townspeople, it looks like they're going to kill Leatherface, but oh no, Heather's there to save the day. So here comes the chainsaw. She tosses back toward him saying, "Do your thing, cuz." Why is this line even in the movie? Like, what? Who wanted that? Who asked for this? It was just one of the dumbest single lines I've heard. But irregardless, the line aside, and her mother's name not being Martha, and going back to help a serial killer, after all of that, we finally get this team up. Heather and Leatherface save the day by killing the innocent people. So they kill the people, and the cop, the sheriff, he sees them, and he just decides to let them go. So he didn't even shoot Leatherface? Like, I don't understand the sheriff's decision-making process in this scene here. So anyway, so he ends up leaving, and Heather takes Leatherface back home, to their new home, which has been his home, and she's going to take care of him now. And this door to the basement, as Leatherface slices shut, boom, there's the end of the movie. So not only did they victimized Leatherface, by giving Heather a redemption story to help out the serial killer after he just killed all her friends, only for the sheriff to witness this and let them go. So I was just perplexed by the decisions in the script here. I was wondering, what were they supposed to be thinking? What the characters were supposed to be doing? Ultimately, a lot of people say it's a bad movie. I have one word. It's confusing. It just confused me why they made those decisions. Now I get it. This isn't the original. This isn't, meant to be some grand re-entry to the franchise. This is just another sequel. But I think there are a lot of decisions here that could have been made that would have made the film just a little bit better. There were some interesting underlying things in this movie, different story plots, different scenes that could have propelled the movie to be a lot more interesting, a lot more entertaining. There's a YouTuber, Cody Leach, who says this about Joker Folie à Deux, which I think his description is great with this movie. This movie, they take a lot of steps in a lot of different directions, but they never actually go anywhere and do anything. And so, I find that perfect for this movie. So, at the end of the day, was it entertaining? Kind of. Was it fun? Was the script good? Oh, no. Was the acting good? So, I usually just say at the end of these reviews, I enjoyed the movie, check it out. If you skip this movie, I don't think you're missing out, really. If you just want to see all the Texas Chainsaw movies, then by all means, this is just another Texas Chainsaw movie, but I wouldn't go into this movie expecting the peak cinema that, this franchise had started out being. So, thank you guys for sticking with me for my review. As always, I'll see everyone next time.